This is the latest that I have gone live. It is 4:36 on a Friday. On a Friday. It is the end of the week. We did it, y'all. We continue to be alive. We're also at the end of February. And I titled this live the way I did because I am very committed to showing up consistently here on YouTube and going live consistently. I literally was like doing something back here in this mirror and I think I was putting on, you can see it, I was putting on sunscreen and I accidentally like brushed by my camera. And I was like, oh, this poor camera hasn't gotten any work in weeks. Hi, Liv. Hi, Markeithia. Nice to see you. Oh, you weren't in yesterday's, but you caught up after. Livia is saying, "Oh, I appreciate you spending time with me." I have an update, by the way. Re potatoes, which is I knew I named the live this way because I did want to follow up because I just finished a client call and she also watched my live. And she was like, when I saw you talk about the potatoes, I was like, she ain't gonna eat them potatoes. But I did. I made them. I did the combo microwave air fryer, and they were delicious. But the thing is, especially with the air fryer, you can basically make one thing at a time. This could be how I'm making it. If you have any tips, let me know. But you basically just put the one thing in there and then you cook it, and you cook the next thing. So I made these two potatoes and then I'm just eating a plate of two potatoes. And a lot of times potatoes are sides, but I didn't have mains. I was just eating loose potatoes covered with cheese. And I think why I find it funny is because it is a choice. Like I want to pretend it's not a choice. It's like, girl, it's a choice. You made choices in your life. You're choosing to live like this. No one's making you live like this. And I just have to come face to face with that. And I am also currently hungry right now. That's why I'm talking about food. And there's a part of me that was like, girl, then make yourself something to eat. But I knew it's like, no, the natural light is here. Sun's about to set. Once that sun is set, I'm not doing anything that's even in the neighborhood of work. And I do have a lot of fun going live with y'all, but I do think of it in terms of like, yeah, this is me supporting my brand, right? This is me growing my community. And so there's a level of, intention behind it. And yeah, once it hits nighttime, we're not doing any of that. Once it hits nighttime, we're not doing anything with intention. So I was like, yeah, let's just go live. And it made me think of this concept, fear, obligation, and guilt, which was actually shared with me by one of my clients in the Liberating the Money Shadow container. Today is the last day. We have a wrap up tomorrow, but today's the official last day of us liberating our money shadows. And this was one of the most valuable things that someone shared in the chat for me anyway. And I think for the group as well, just this concept of when are we doing things from a place of fear, obligation, or guilt? And it spells out the word fog. So when are we moving through life, moving with this fog, with this lack of clarity, this lack of alignment, this lack of light. And instead we're doing something because we're scared about what someone's going to say or what people will think of us, or we feel obligated, right? We're like, oh, to be a good person is to do X, Y, or Z. Or we feel some kind of guilt, like, oh, I'm a bad person, or there's some shame if I don't do this thing, or I do this thing. And it can be such a present frequency for so many of us that to have the awareness of like, oh, there's this acronym, and I can realize when am I moving from this place. And I know my belief system is anything we do from the energy, we create more of that energy. And so it's really not in our best interest to move from these places. Liv is saying, I love cooking, but it is work. Yeah, to me, it's only fun when it's a choice. And yeah, it's mostly because I'm thinking about when I've had fun cooking, it's when it's an adventure. When it's new, I think when it's a new thing and when it's a choice. You could press a button and have some food delivered. But no, you're like, wouldn't it be fun to chop some carrots? And it's like, oh, if you actually are hungry and you need it for sustenance, I am not enjoying cooking. This is labor to meet my basic needs, the lowest on the Pavlov's hierarchy. Maslow, one of them mofos on the hierarchy is just food, water, shelter. Those aren't the fun ones, all right? Those aren't the self-actualization ones. And so to me, it is not fun at all. Also, feel free other people to say hello into the chat. Um, but yeah, I did it and I was proud of myself. And also, here I am showing up for you all. And I'm also proud of myself. And I had this moment earlier. I was listening to one of my friend's voice notes, and she was talking about she had hired some cleaners to come through and clean her space. And she was like, yeah, I will go to work and earn the money to pay the other person to clean the home. And I was like, you got to tell me. I was sitting outside on a bench in the sunshine because I wanted to give the cleaners privacy to clean this apartment. So I'm very much on that same wavelength. And when I was chatting with this client just now about the whole potatoes thing, I was like, yeah, I'm actually too pretty to cook. I'm too pretty to cook because I have to. Actually, someone make me some food, and I don't even think it's like how we have these young parts of ourselves who are crying out for care and nourishment. I don't even think it's that. I think as an adult, I'm like, give me some food. I'm like, what are we doing? Why would I have to do that myself? It makes no sense. Let me know if you think this is actually some trauma that needs to be integrated. I'm open to having my mind changed, but it's sort of like, it's like making my own clothes. Like I can sew, it's fun. Like if I had a sewing machine, I would sew something. It's so fun. But to have to sew my own clothes, and what I'm realizing as I hear myself talk, it sounds very elitist. It sounds like something an out of touch elitist person would say. And then as I hear myself say that out loud, I'm like, oh, so you're judging the parts of yourself that know how they want to spend their time, know what they find fun, know what they feel they deserve, because you think people will judge you. And then because they're judging you, they won't like you. And then they won't give you money. And then you'll die. And I'm like, I see. Liv's saying, I think that may be an American thing. We don't order food that much here in Portugal. But correct me if I'm wrong. You're in Portugal? Ooh. What part of Portugal are you in? Are you from Portugal? What are you doing over there? I've been to Lisbon. I've been there. I spent about a month there when I was traveling with Remote Year. And I really want to go back. It was so fun. It was so fun. It was so beautiful. Food was great. Vibes were great. Yeah, it was amazing. The hills, yes. Yeah, it could be an American thing with the ordering food. And I heard some really interesting analysis about how our relationship to food is tied to our relationship to productivity and how it takes time to cook. And that's time that could be spent working, and it takes time to digest certain types of food, there's like things we can just eat quickly and it'll give us the energy to just keep working. And there's other things that take longer for our body to break down, even if they're more nutritious. And we will tend towards the things that just give us that energy so we can just keep contributing to the capitalist machine. But I say that with a tone because I love money. So I'm like, I enjoy the capitalism. You're Irish, but you grew up in London and many parts of Portugal, and you live in Porto, north of Portugal right now. I know Porto is like the wine vibey area. I haven't been to Porto. You're Irish. That accent is so beautiful. Do you ever just talk and you're like delighted? Do you ever just send yourself a voice note and you're like, great. What a treat. I love that for you. Yeah, my favorite, I love Hosier, and he's your people. But I also love that actress, how do you pronounce her name? Because it's spelled, she was in that movie Brooklyn and Other Things. And she was in that movie with Timothée Chalamet, Lady Bird. Your accent is more British. I am sorry. It's also a very nice accent. It's also very nice. Saoirse Ronan. Yes, exactly. I love her. Yeah, that's a fun accent. That's cool. It's different. You come to America, we gonna love it. I think most of us will love it. I feel like on the internet, like TikTok likes to amplify these like regional wars, and it's like UK versus America and all this stuff. But I think in real life, if you came to America, we would be like an accent. Like we would be like delighted. We think it was really charming and cute, and we would be really nice to you. So, have you been here? Have you been to the United States? Do you have a desire to come? I have a friend from South Africa, and she was like, I have no desire to go to the United States. And I was like, I'm personally offended. Because when you're from America, you're raised to believe we're the best. So it's like, what do you mean you don't want to come here? But then also, if you get to leave where you're just wherever you were born, if you get to leave those square miles and then actually travel around America, you're like, oh, it actually is like the beautiful, like America the beautiful is real. Liv saying it's okay, you love your accent, and you do have a beautiful voice. Yes, I love when people claim their blessings and the things that make them awesome, and they're like, my voice is amazing. And I'm like, yes, it is. You also said, as do you, and I received that compliment, just so you know. You haven't been and you have no desire. Because of the fear, which is funny. I'm not even in America. And I'm like, you want to go to America? It's like, bitch, you don't even go to America. What are you talking about? You laughed. And I'm like, right. I did leave. But I'm an American in my heart. Also, Mexico is a part of America, all right? The whole thing is North America, all right? All of it. The Americas, North America, South America, the Americas. You say you'll go one day, but not alone. Dang, not America being third world. And you're like, I can't go alone. I don't want none of that smoke. I don't want none of that gun violence. I don't want to be shot down in a mall. That's fine, honestly. Like, honestly, I remember I was traveling a while. This was a couple of years ago. I'd been traveling internationally, and I came back to the United States, and the TV in the airport, I just got back. The TV in the airport was like, maybe we give the teachers guns, and that's how we prevent that. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I was like, this is a joke. I was like, wait, why am I back? And guess who is not there right now? So honestly, we're humans. So there's stuff everywhere. And honestly, I'm a big believer in this. If you have a lovely energy, you won't even be a frequency match for BS. You won't be a frequency match for violence. I remember I was in New York. I lived in Brooklyn for like 6 months. And it was like the last like weekend, because I had 2 roommates, other Black women as well. And it was like our last weekend because we were like leaving the apartment. And so we went to this nearby bar. And you know me, I was like, la da 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 da, just like waltzing into this bar. And then my 2 other roommates are there, and they're talking. They're like, "Did you see that guy outside?" And I was like, "Huh?" And they're like, "Yeah, there was some guy outside. And apparently, he was maybe doing something crazy or acting crazy." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even see him." And one of my roommates was like, "Of course you didn't. Like, literally, you didn't even it didn't even scan." And I'm like, "Nope." And they were talking about some of the wild stuff they'd seen in New York. They had literally seen an unalived body on a train, and I'm like, "You've seen that?" And they were like, mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, we are living in different New Yorks. Like the energy that I'm bringing, what I'm open to seeing. Did y'all ever watch that show on HBO, Westworld, where it was like robots and stuff, basically? So there's a whole thing where like, I won't get into the plot, but basically there were these robots. And if you were a human, you could go to Westworld and role play in the Wild West with these robots, right? And then you find out that there's some shenanigans going on with some of the robots. And one of the guests has a picture of someone who looks exactly like our robot in the real world. And so the guest shows the picture to the robot and is like, what do you see? And the robot just looks at it and is like, I don't see anything because like they can't, it's literally not in their programming to see certain things. That is what it's like with me and BS. And Liv, I just met you, but girl, it's been weeks now that we've known each other. I think with your beautiful voice and your beautiful energy and your homeland of Ireland, I think you would be amazing. You would thrive here. Hosier has a whole song about how amazing it is to hear someone call you like honey or sweetie pie or something. Because he came to America and he was shocked by how like everybody was like really sweet and charming and lovely. So why am I pitching America to you? I don't know. I'm not even there right now, but I will release that. Lizeth is here. Hi, Lizeth. And you're saying, I contributed to the capitalist machine today. OMG, I forgot about the strike. My bad. Forget everything. Forget everything I said about loving capitalism for the 28th of February when we were all striking or whatever. My bad. Forgot about that. I contributed to the capitalist machine today by going to Barnes and Noble to get one book that your mentor recommended, and you walked away with 5 extra books. You did more shopping. You were like, oh, y'all striking? I'm going to make up for that by buying 5 books. Love it. And you're mentioning emotional self-regulation. Listen, we're doing our best. We are humans, and we are doing our best. Liv's like, the U.S. is a war zone to us. No! I mean, listen, there's just certain neighborhoods. But then y'all got that over there, right? It is dialed up a notch for sure. You know, I'm always so curious about where souls choose to incarnate because I'm like, oh, what kind of adventure did you want to have? You know, and the people who choose the American adventure, I'm like, wow, we really chose that. And even within the American adventure, there's so many regions, there's so many socioeconomic statuses, so you can really have a time. So I hope to see you one day, but again, that's your journey. Liv's like, you are not convincing me. Okay. This is why we shouldn't have cut USAID. This is why we shouldn't have cut all our soft power programs, because clearly the YouTube influencers are not enough to influence people to come to America. And that's on me. That's on me. I'll try. I think it'd be easier if I was also there, because I have also in fact left because I did want a better life for myself. But I think at some point, you know, after some of the ruckus has wrapped up, I'll be back. Probably. Right? Probably. Okay, Liv saying one day. Great. I've done my job. Liv saying the strike needs to be a week or longer to be effective, I think. And also yay to more books. It's interesting. I was reading about and by reading about, I mean, I was on Threads and I saw a post. I was reading about the Montgomery bus boycott during the civil rights movement. And it also started as a one-day strike. So it was this one-day strike, and I guess it proved to be so effective that they kept it up. And then eventually, you know, things changed. So we got to start where we're at. And maybe for a lot of people, they're like, I got 24 hours I can give you to this cause of class consciousness. I'm going to be right back to it on Saturday, or maybe even on the day. I'm going to think about it, and then I'm going to buy 6 books from Barnes & Noble, not even a local bookseller. You could have gone to a little local store. You were like, nah, Barnes & Noble. Give me that motherfucking Starbucks. I love it. We're doing our best. We are trying. I think what's tough too is like, if you're a spiritual person and you understand like the levels of consciousness, and you know, you kind of understand the energy of money and abundance, and like how inner work and healing is one of the pathways of changing the world. Yeah, I think there's such an interesting thing to be a spiritual person, because you still are in the societal context. Like you still are co-creating this collective construct. And so it's like, how much do you participate and play, and how much do you like kind of realize that's not how it works? And I think we all have our own like ratio. We all have our own math that we do. And I know for me, it really depends on like perception. Like it depends on like, oh, will it look good to be photographed at the Barnes and Noble on the 28th? And I'm like, I don't think it will look good. Even though even though personally I have a completely different set of politics, I'm like, but the people who I think are in my audience would not like that. So let me be different. But then in practice, I'm not even in the country. So I don't think so I don't know, is it an international thing or is it just a US thing? I don't know. So yeah, I did go to a local panaderia and I got myself some baked goods. And I did, in fact, buy things today. But I felt good because I'm in Mexico and it was a small shop and I was hungry. And I think it also speaks to, you know, the luxury of certain movements. Because some people, it's like, baby girl, I need to eat, but we're all doing our best. Lizette is saying I was trying to avoid Amazon, but I did want to know if they had the book. Wait, Barnes and Noble and Amazon are different, right? Liv is saying we know about it out here, but it does feel US specific. Yeah, I think maybe because maybe the organizers are American, that it feels like a US thing. But I gotta say, one of the things I love about being American is how our culture really does just permeate into the whole world. I was obviously love Kendrick Lamar, talk about him often. I was here in Mexico walking down the street and a Mexican man was playing from his phone the halftime show. And I was just bopping along. I'm going to do my stuff. I was like, yeah, I was so happy. And so I do love that. Yeah. And it also makes it a bit harder to feel. Yeah, it's a weird mix of not feeling the responsibility because I'm not physically there, but also being you are American. Even if you aren't physically there in that moment, that is not stripping you of the responsibility to help create the America that you want. Am I running for office? What am I doing? Why am I even talking about this? I want to talk about potatoes. Yeah, which is to say, I'm going to have some more potatoes after we wrap this live up. I have one left. I'm going to eat that. And I'm going to eat a singular mango. And yeah, so what I've really been with is it feels like I'm fasting. And I'm just like, why? Why, Chimpy? And I'm having fun with it. But there is a part of me that's but really, why? Why are you doing this? Because it was never necessary. You could have budgeted differently. You actually also could make pasta and have a really filling carb-rich meal. What are you doing? And I don't know. But I think what it is because it is uncomfortable. Being hungry is uncomfortable. But I think when it comes to doing the healing work, things have to get really uncomfortable before you're like, this is weird, actually. I actually want to address this because I don't want to do this ever again. And I'm kind of there where from this point on, I've already been budgeting. I'm going to be even more on top of my budget to never be in this particular situation again. But yeah, it's also not, I think it's just it doesn't feel real. I think that's why there isn't the urgency to really sit down. I also haven't been doing process work intentionally. So I think that's part of it because old me would have processed this and been sobbing and my eyes would have been red from the tears and shit. And I'm just, not doing that right now. Abstract Voice Podcast is here. Hi. Ooh, maybe your body needs it. Ooh. Oh, by the way, I was on TikTok last night and there was a woman who is a past life regression therapist. And so she has this video series and she's just sharing things people in their past lives have given her clients. And one of the things, and I was like, oh, influencing is real. Because I heard this from a person I met just now and I'm ready to try it. She said one of the things someone told their client, past life version told their client, was to not sleep with a pillow. And instead, they should sleep with their feet elevated. And it has to do with the spine and the energy and shit. Like you really shouldn't have your head elevated like that. And I was experiencing a little bit of neck stuff. And so I was like, maybe I'll try this approach of like not sleeping with the pillow. So last night I did not sleep with the pillow. And I was like, you just saw this random woman on the internet say this thing and now you're doing it. And I was like, you might be susceptible, girl. Like, you might not have those really high levels of critical thinking and discernment that you might think. But obviously I think I do. And my neck feels great. And it was kind of fun. And also I wanted to do more sleeping on my back. So it helped. And also it reminded me of being on the beach because I don't bring a lot of stuff to the beach when I go now because I incorporate it into my morning walks. I want to be carrying a lot of stuff. So I literally just throw a towel over my shoulder, do my little walk, go to the beach, lay that towel down, go into the ocean, lie down. So no head support. And I was like, there's something kind of romantic about this. So I don't know, maybe there's something going on with like romanticizing poverty. But yeah, maybe on some other level, my body needs to kind of just do a little bit of fasting. I think also there was also a part of me that kind of also did want to fast. Because I remember years and years ago, I was a part of this church that did a fast. And then I went to my doctor around the same time. And I mentioned, oh, I'm fasting because of this church thing. And he was like, fasting is good for you. And I was like, huh. And I like never did it again. I barely even did it because I was hungry. So I barely even did it then. But I think it's also been, it's been a seed planted of like, oh, maybe this would be like a nice reset for you. Liv is saying in terms of, I think this is about like why I'm like, was on my running for president-ish. It's my fault I mentioned that ordering food feels quite American as it's not as common in European cultures. Okay. That's how the regional war began. That's okay. Are you looking forward to your process work starting again? Amazing question, Liv. Thank you for asking. I am. I miss it. I love it. I miss it. It's such an important part of my life. I love it. I love crying. I love it so much. I think it's so fun. I really like when things that I didn't know about myself become conscious. I think it's so cool. I like feeling intensely. I like it. It feels like, you know how it feels like how food can be regular, it can be bland, or it can be really spicy or just have a lot of flavor. It feels like doing process work is the emotional version of having spice in your emotions. I'm like, oh, I'm really feeling this. Yeah, it feels like I'm really feeling this. When I was younger, I would watch movies and TV shows and read books because that would be my portal to accessing really intense emotions because I didn't have the process and capacity then to like be able to just do it on my own. Now I don't need to watch a movie or a TV show. I can just go in my inner movie and make myself cry and learn something. And this is one of those beliefs that maybe isn't supportive, though I think it's fine, which is every time I do process work, something awesome happens in my life. And that could just be like, you know, your mind creates pattern recognition and you're creating a relationship where there isn't a causality where there isn't there. So that could be what's going on, but I don't think so. I think, you know how beliefs work. You can't challenge your beliefs. I really do believe like, no, when you do process work, when you meet some part of yourself, when you heal some trauma, when you cry about something you've been storing in your body for 10, 15, 20 years, now there's more of you here. And then you get to do more cool stuff and meet cool people and get more opportunities and get more money. So I'm like, this is a ticket to more dope stuff right here. And I could be doing it. And instead I'm not. But I definitely appreciate this break. This break has shown me you can't do it every day, multiple times a day. Like just take like a week off, you know, and just be in your life. But yeah, I miss it. I'm so excited. Literally March 1st, tomorrow. I am back. I can hardly wait. Liv is saying, do you have a specific process routine? I do. So basically, every night I would go into meditation. So I would just take a seat, do some deep breathing. And then usually something happened in the day where it was like a small thing that kind of like happened and like bothered me. And maybe in the moment I couldn't focus on it. So I just kept living my day. And sometimes if I have space in the moment, I can just pause and be with it. But normally it's like something happened early in the day that actually really bothered me. And I'm still like, it's still in me. And so I kind of think of process work as like taking an inner shower. Like we take our outer shower, it's like an inner shower to like release any kind of BS from the day that we don't want to take with us into the night. So I specifically like to do it before I go to sleep. And yeah, I just like to, and also think sleeping helps with the integration. So yeah, I'll just like remember something. Maybe someone said something, or I felt a way about something, or I was really disappointed about something, and I'll just like pause and just, usually I start with bringing in my spirit team, which are all like both people, but also like angels, and also like feeling, it's kind of amorphous, but it's any kind of supportive energy. I'll kind of start by bringing them in. They'll be like, hi, they're like, hey, y'all. And then I'll remember this thing, and I'll basically just allow my spirit team to comfort me while I feel the root of that feeling, which is almost always like sadness. Sometimes there's some anger, but usually it's like there's something that made me sad. And so I just let myself feel it. And then by the end, I'm like cackling and I go to sleep. And then the next day, something dope happens. So yeah, that's my current routine. Charlotte's here. Hi, Charlotte. We're also at the half hour, so I'm going to be here for maybe a few minutes more. Charlotte's saying, okay, so it's your turn now. Tell us something super random we should do. And you love crying too, my people. Yes. Okay, you're saying it's my turn. So I shared the thing about the pillow. Okay. All right. I don't know if this is random. I think this is just good advice, but start every day with a morning walk. Like before you do anything else, brush your teeth, put on shoes, and go outside. Like first thing. Don't even like answer any emails. If you need to send a voice note or something or text someone, do it while you are outside. But like literally within like 10 minutes of being awake, be outside in the sun. I don't know if your climate will allow you to do that. So if your climate doesn't allow you to do that, basically do some other activity that will increase your dopamine that isn't related to being on your phone. So you could also try, for a while, I would do a minute plank first thing in the morning, which is an insane way to start your day. But then you've started your day doing a plank, which is like, how powerful are you? So just do something that's like a little bit hard to like juice up your dopamine, because basically it jacks up when you have to struggle a little bit. So start every morning with a little bit of struggle, which will then amp up your energy for the rest of the day. It is 5 p.m. at night. And look at my energy. And it's because I started my day, the first 2 hours of my day from 10 a.m. Yeah, I started my day at 10 a.m. From 10 a.m. to noon, I was basically outside. So I have just been infused with like the light of God. I also think light transmits information. So I think it's fun to like be out in the sun and then literally imagine you're getting all these downloads and all this information. And also them trees. There are these trees along my walkway that have those like flowers with the scents. Not all flowers have them. And I'll be like knocking a bee out of the way. So I can be like, it's my turn to smell. And I'll be like, and then go out my way. So smell a flower, go on a walk, receive information from the sun, do a plank. Any of those, this is free. This is all free wisdom that I'm giving to you. Though if you want to give me some money, that option is always there. I actually added my cash tag to my description for my whole YouTube channel because someone brought it up on yesterday's live. So it makes a difference. Liv is saying this is good advice. Thank you. As I was reading the list out, I was like, we have come so far in our woo-woo journey. And I love that for me. And I love that for y'all too. Henrietta's here. It's the first time you're here when I'm live. This is like the joy of doing the lives at different times because there's like different people who can come through at different times. Welcome, Henrietta. I have to say, every time I see your face, I'm like, wow, that hair. Like I can see the icon is like this big. And I'm like, I can tell her hair looks amazing in that icon. So just want to give you that. Also, did you hear about how apparently there are all these carcinogens in like fake hair and like synthetic hair? And I'm like, The whole reason I was growing my hair out was so that I could throw in some box braids. And here the internet is saying there are all these carcinogens. And part of me is like, listen, we been know that's not gonna stop nobody. I didn't smoke weed for all them years to let a little bit of carcinogen keep me from a, bust down to the booty ass box braids hairstyle. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pray over the hair. All right. I'm gonna give it to the good Lord. And I'm gonna look sexy because that's my right. Henrietta is saying another thing I do to help is delay the first meal of the day. So when I eat first thing in the morning, my day starts out slow. And you're welcome for me welcoming you. Yeah, it's like your body's like immediately kicked into digestion, which takes like, the blood is being sucked from your brain and your other organs, like I'm a doctor, and it's going to your stomach to digest your food. So that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I hope this was fun. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Tomorrow is the last call for the Liberating the Money Shadow. So I may go live before, or after, or I may take the weekend off. We're going to see. But thanks for hanging out, and I see you when I see you. Bye.